Welcome back to an episode of Let's Build Twitter. We're in episode 132. As always, if you guys do want access to the private repository, there's a link in the description down below that walks you through exactly how to get that. And if you want to hang out while I'm live streaming this and working on the code, I also live stream every Tuesday and Thursday around 9 p.m. CST time. I also wanted to quickly mention that my microphone for some reason wasn't picking up my voice quite as well as it normally does, so please forgive me in the next couple of episodes where the audio might be a little bit scuffed. I did my best here, so let's go ahead and talk about what we worked on today. In this episode, we continue working on the schedule post modal by going ahead and wrapping up the logic for the drop downs that allow you to select the date and time, as well as fixing up the display that shows the date and time because it wasn't working for AM and PM. And finally, we wrap up by setting it up so that it dispatches that date and time to the current post. That way we can go ahead and send the post over to the backend with the scheduled date. As always, I'm Ethan Encoder, and let's hop straight into development. We need to get these dispatchers working. And we also need a way to validate whether or not the date is valid or not in the past. So it has to be in the future. So we'll have to deal with that later as well, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. Let's go back to the modal content, and we need dispatchers here. So basically what it's going to say is add some more ifs. So if name is equal to, and I forget what I called these. I think this one is probably hours. And I can take a look. So if we scroll down here, and this one is just hour. So if name is hour and type of our value, value is equal to number. So then we're going to go ahead and set the scheduled date. So we're going to say date copy dot set, and we can say hours, and we're going to go ahead and set the hours. So here we might have to do something else because it only goes 1 through whatever, so we might have to also check AM PM. Let's just go ahead and do this. So we'll go ahead and just set hours to, I think we just say value. So we'll set that to value, and we'll say set scheduled date to date copy. Let's just do this first, and then we can go ahead and fix the other one. So if, and then name is equal minute, I'm guessing. Let's just double check. Yep, so minute, and then and type of a value is equal to number. All right, and this one is just going to say set, actually we need to say date copy, and that's nothing what I want. Date copy dot set minutes, and this is going to be to value, and then we'll say set scheduled date to date copy. And then finally what we're going to need is a const string. So const, and then this is going to be AM PM, and set AM PM equal to use date, and this will be a string. And so this needs to start out as if I scroll down here, I think I have a thing here. So that's a month. Data get hours divided by 2. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to change the data. So now inside of here, and hopefully yeah, this should work. So we're going to go ahead and do one of these. We're going to return this, and instead of scheduled date, we're going to say, I guess we don't need the return because it's a single line. We're going to say new date dot get hours, and then AM and PM, just to be safe, to make sure that it's there. And then we're gonna pass AM PM into data now. So we're gonna go into data, set AM PM. We're also gonna go ahead and, okay, that's fine. I was gonna make, hoping that it wasn't gonna break anything. And then finally, if name is equal to, and I think I called this AM slash PM, except it's gonna be lowercase. So AM slash PM, and this one has to be a type of value. Type of value needs to be equal to a string because it's a string. If this is the case, we're going to go ahead and set AM PM to the value. So it's either going to be AM or PM. Now this one, I'm pretty sure we're going to change. We're going to have to update this. Update to calculate, calc, I could type calculate army time, basically, or 24-hour time. That way it actually knows like the time of day. Otherwise, I don't think it's gonna work. So let's go ahead and just see what happens here. Let's go back into Chrome and Let's go to refresh just to give it the best shot possible. Hope I didn't break anything. But now if we change this to 1, okay, it's not working. That one's not working. And oh, you know what? I gotta actually set these. So we're gonna go ahead and copy our update scheduled dates. Now I also never changed the year. Interesting. So of course it's not gonna work. You gotta go ahead and paste these in. So these will all just get called here. And now it should be good to go after this. I don't know why that dispatcher is doing that, but okay. Cool. So that should be good, I believe. Let's just go ahead and double check. If we come back in here now, and now we give it a refresh. So if we go ahead and say here, and we can go ahead and say January, sure, 7, 2024. Okay, it's still not working. Okay, hours working, minutes working, and this one's not working. Okay, so let's go ahead and double check what's going on with these ones. I just never did year, so that explains that. If name is equal to year and type of the value is equal to a number, then we will go ahead and say date.copy.set, and this one is full year. And we'll go ahead and pass in that value. We'll set scheduled date to that date copy. So year should be fine, and pop this up. So now if we change year to 2024, it changes to 2024. That's all good. Now AM, PM, what's going on here? So I got not a number. So of course it shouldn't be a number. So what's the problem here? So what we could do is we come back into our util, the value here. Let's say value. Okay, value here will be equal to 0. And then value here will be equal to 1 maybe. And then what we can say is that's fine. And then what we can do is go back into here, and this will also be a number. And then we'll go ahead and we'll set value equal to 1 question mark. And then we'll say PM, otherwise we'll say AM. And that's what we'll set there. And we can close out of this, and we can get rid of this. And I believe that should fix that issue. If we go ahead and take a look now in Chrome, and if we refresh and we pop open this guy, and so that should be PM, so that's a problem. It's 0. So this is 1 or a 0. And then this is going to be a number. We might be able to get away with this, maybe. And then here, this will once again be 1. Although we don't need to do this. We can just say set this to value. Set PM to value. Just trying things. Okay, so it starts out as PM as we expect. And if we change to AM, it works just fine. Now the only issue is this still says PM. And that should say AM. And that's what I was concerned about. If it's PM, and we need a way of setting it to like 12.8 to 0, 100. So I'm going to try setting it to the zeros again. So if AM PM is equal to 0, let new hours equal to value mod 12. We're going to go ahead and set this to this, and let's just see if we can at least get 12 AM working here. So copy that, paste that, save that, and in here let's refresh and come in here. When you set this to AM, nothing changes just because all it did is change this, although we should probably change this to like 12 hours, minus 12 hours or something, or plus 12 hours depending on where it is. I don't know. Or we can get this and change it, but either way, if I change this to 1, it goes to 1 AM, 2 AM, 12 goes to 12 AM. So that worked. This part is scuffed, so we're gonna have to fix this. I think what we might do is we might just steal this part out of the local string, and that might be a lot easier. So that's fine. So let's go ahead and say else, and we're gonna do the same thing we did before. Let new hours equal to value, and actually we'll say let new hours equal to, and we'll say value equal to 12 question mark. If it's equal to 12, we're going to return 12. Otherwise, we're going to say value plus 12. Then we'll go ahead and say date copy set hours, and let's see if this works. Value, this would not be values, be new hours. Save that, and then we'll also update this. Now for AM and PM, we're gonna have to figure out how to set the hours differently whenever we update this, just so it actually works, but that'll be a different concern. So let's see if we can get PM to work. So right now we change this to 1 p.m, 2 p.m, 12 p.m. Obviously the selector doesn't work, and this is a little bit broken, but that's working. Now we need to figure out what's broken with this, and we also need to fix this guy. Let's go ahead and fix this. For this, I'm just gonna cheat. I'm gonna go ahead and use the string local. So I'm just gonna delete this. Const time equal to scheduled date dot to local time string, and we're gonna go ahead and say that we can just do this. It's gonna be time dot, we can split it, and this is gonna split by the colon. We're gonna have 0. We're gonna have $sign. I don't know how AM and PM is even working, but it is what it is. Time dot split, and once again we'll split it by this, and then this will be 1. And then instead of AM and PM, gonna be time dot split. We're gonna split by a space, and this is gonna be 1. I think that should work. Let's see. So far so good. I'm in here 9:42. If I go to AM, now we need to actually change the value to like minus 12 hours or plus 12 hours, I think, whenever we change it. So if we come in here, if value is equal to 0, because it's not returning anything, I'm gonna say date copy. Oops. Date copy dot set, and this will be hours. This will be to date copy dot get hours, and this one should be minus 12. Otherwise, we're gonna do the opposite. We'll add 12 hours. Date copy. I could type date copy dot set hours. We're gonna set date copy dot get hours, and this would be plus 12 hours. Whoops, this should be get hours. Yo, thank you for the subscription, I appreciate you. And here we'll go ahead and say set scheduled date to our date copy, and I don't know if this is going to work. We'll have to see if it's going to actually change it from AM and PM, but I think theoretically it should, because we're just adding 12 hours or subtracting 12 hours. And if the value got set to 0, that means we're in PM, and otherwise it got set to 1, which means we're in AM. So let's go ahead, take a peek. So if I go here, let's refresh. So it should start out as PM. If we go into AM, 9:44 AM, go into PM, 9:44 PM. So I'm curious to see why going to 12 breaks. So values 12, it goes to 12 whatever PM. If we go to AM, that's 12 AM. So I'm not sure why this is broken. Let's go and just take a quick peek, and this is probably going to be inside of the other thing. We can at least take a look at this. It might, because of the hour, I think it might be going to 0. It gets confused and then goes to 1. We could say scheduled date dot to. Not gonna like this. Locale time dot split. We're gonna split it by this. Get 0, then add a plus to it, because it's the data that's it's getting scuffed on. Refresh. We change it to that. We go to 12. Stays at 12, but we'll just do that. And this is just because of the weird 24-hour clock thing that they got going on. So that is fixed. So that's a good fix. So now what we need to do, I guess, I think we calculate everything. The only thing that I don't think we do is, I don't know if we have a way of currently setting whenever something is like more or less like actually scheduled. I don't know what our post guy looks like. Let's go to our post slice. So post slice has content Let's see. This has a current post on it. So we could say current post. We could say, I think we want to go ahead and create a new, although we have an update current post, what does this take? It just takes an action.payload. Although we're going to do we're going to do two of them because we need to update two fields. We need to update the scheduled date and we want to set the is scheduled. I think that we go ahead and create a set scheduled date here because there is a set pull date. Let's go ahead and say set schedule date, and then whoops, if I could type state action payload action. This will be, I guess it'll be a date. You're not really supposed to allow it to take dates, but it is what is. What's the problem? Schedule dates. I don't know what I'm missing. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. Let me fix this. There it goes. There. Okay, so basically we're gonna say, we're gonna make sure if state dot current post, right? We need to make sure that we have a current post. Just return the state. If there's no current post, we'll just ignore it. It's fine. Although I think if you click on it, it should create a current post, so it's fine. And we're gonna go ahead and say let post equal to JSON dot parse. I don't know how that works because there's a date in there, but whatever. JSON dot stringify. We're gonna say state dot current post, and then we're gonna go ahead and say post is equal to dot post. We're gonna go ahead and set the scheduled date. We shouldn't have a set scheduled date, the post, although it might not say it's a post. What if we say post like that? Post comma scheduled date, and this is going to be the action.payload, which is the type date, and then we're going to say scheduled, which should be true because it is scheduled. And we'll say state is equal to state, and then we're going to go ahead and say post, the current post is equal to the post, and then we'll go ahead and return that state. So if nothing happens, it's fine. This is going to be called whenever we, I guess, click a button. Let me look at what Twitter looks like really quick. So I guess we can go ahead and do this. And now that I'm on Google Chrome, I decided to go ahead and start developing Google Chrome because it actually works in incognito mode. Let's go ahead and export. I'll go ahead and copy this. That scheduled date. I probably maybe could have named it something else, but it is what it is. Grab this, throw it in there. Save that, and then back into our thing here. We're going to need use dispatch, port, use dispatch. We're also going to need not root state, app dispatch, which might be this app dispatch. There we go. And then let's go ahead and say const and dispatch equal to use dispatch. This should be an app dispatch. Let's fix that. App dispatch. Whoops. I love when it does that. Cool. And then let's go ahead and come down here and let's say const schedule. Schedule post is equal to an arrow function. And then this is going to say dispatch. And this will dispatch our set scheduled date, and this is going to take in our scheduled date or scheduled date. What is your problem? Yeah, I don't think this got imported. So if I could import this, please. And it definitely got exported, so let's just go ahead and try to import it manually. Import set scheduled date. You know what? Well, that should be fine. Set scheduled date. Set schedule date. And there we go. I just spelled it wrong. That's good to go. So now whenever we do that, we'll do this. We don't need this use effect. Let's get rid of that. And we're gonna have to dispatch this every time we make a change, which I don't love. but it is what it is, because I forgot that the X or the submit or confirm is actually in the top. So I guess if you just start clicking on things, it's going to change it, which I don't love that idea, but it is what it is. I don't really know how Twitter does it. Let's actually make sure that this is working. So every time we dispatch, or every time we change something, it should dispatch into there. So let's go ahead and and it might be delayed by one. We'll see how it works. Let's hop in here. I'm gonna go ahead and open up Redux, and I'm gonna actually close out of this. I'm gonna open it up. So right now everything is like there's nothing in there. So if I change this to 6 p.m. So there is a set schedule. It does have a payload. I'm assuming that's 6 p.m. If I go into the state and then go into, I know you guys can't see this. Let's just take a look here. So if I come in here, I go down to post and then I go to schedule date. We do in fact have a schedule date. I'm assuming that's correct. Although this says 7 and this one says 8. So that's a little bit concerning that this says, oh, you know what? It might just be a time zone thing. It's probably fine. It should be fine. It shows the correct date up here and everything else. So that's good to go. And it's setting everything. So now whenever I click confirm, what I need to go ahead and do is close out of this. And we also need to make sure that this date that we have selected here isn't backwards. Let's go ahead and I guess create a validator really quick, and then we will confirm that, and then we can do some styling for about an hour here. So let's come back into our code. So validators, let's go ahead and say export const. We're gonna say validate future date equal to, and this is gonna take in a date, a D, and then we'll just call this date. And this will return a Boolean. So this is going to take in the current date. We'll go ahead and say let current date equal to new date. And we'll say return. We should probably also validate that's a valid date in general. But again, I'm too lazy. So return. We need the current date less than or equal to the date that we pass in. Then that should be good to go, I believe. So then if we put a date that's not in the future, it should complain. So now inside of our schedule post modal, now we can go ahead and pass in valid instead of true. We're going to say validate future dates. We're going to pass in scheduled date. And the only issue that I can see is if we change, like, it goes up in time because we took a second, but I'm sure it'll be okay as long as you're kind of clicking things in the future. We might have to work a way into fixing it, but we'll see what happens here. So now we'll say valid is equal to validate future date with the scheduled date. So if we come in here, so December 7th at 10 o'clock, if we say 1 p.m., it's not valid, but if we say like 11, it's valid. And then obviously if we say, let's say this 5th, it's not valid because it's behind. I think that's good enough for government work for me. Go back to 7th, go to like 24, it's valid. So that's all good to go. Let's also get confirm done. That's just the X. So I need to also go ahead and click close modal on here because we're setting it as we change it. So save that. We should probably only go ahead and dispatch this if our validate future date of date copy, because we want right now, is true. That way we don't dispatch it to a later date. So only go ahead and dispatch the dates in the future. I think that's good to go. Unfortunately, that's going to be it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please stick around for the next episode by hitting that subscribe button. You'll know exactly when it comes out, especially at that bell icon. If you did enjoy the content today, please sure to leave a thumbs up. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out with the algorithm all the same. And finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, make sure you leave a comment down below. With that being said, I appreciate you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.